we got some new music from REN coming out. It is Money Game Part 3. Thanks to Megs with the reaction. We are doing this right off the bat. Tom Stevens, your resident psychotherapist. Megs, thanks for supporting reaction therapy and our mission to spread mental health awareness to the world and to spread REN's music to the world. So without further ado, here we go. If I can keep up, it is REN Money Game Part 3. 3. Man. Oh no. Here we go. Oh, gosh. Y'all know, like, as a mental health professional, it's hard. Like, I see him playing this piano in a suit. He's super talented, can play a piano like this. And then it shows him and he's got the bag over his head with the noose. Oh, man. It's almost like he didn't know he had this mask on or something, or what he even looked like. And then he saw the other guy, got away from there, let him have the seat, and then notices this mirror.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. 1 year old and his first words were mine, mine, gimme. 2 years old he was walking, 3 years old walking quickly. 4 years old he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years.
It's pretty cool how he laid out the, development of children as they grow up, just starting to just egocentric children. They want everything they want when they want it. It's just what children are. Their brains are concrete. They're not abstract thinkers yet. And so they don't understand that, but they also take on the blame. You got to realize this in life. Children want what they want when they want it, but they also feel and take responsibility for a lot of things as their own, i.e. a child's 5 years old and their parents divorced. They can very often think it's their fault because that happened, because they're so egocentric. They think they want what they want, but they also think they are responsible for a lot of things. And so it's hard growing up, especially when you have any kind of chaos. This is very interesting with this child here. Same bag over the head, almost like they can't see themselves or show themselves, tied with that rope, and toys all around, still able to see and play, but has the stuffed animals, has books, has trains, and is able to play. But at 1, mine. At 2, starting to I think they said walk, and at 3 starting to run. 4, let me hear that again. So happy to announce the sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. H-E-L-P is back again, longtime sponsor of reaction therapy. And I love BetterHelp because I've been a client. I know what it's like. I've had friends who have been the therapists on BetterHelp. And as a client, dealing with stress, anxiety, struggling with the pressures of life, I got a therapist, got matched actually on the very first attempt with a great one, and got awesome results. You can too. BetterHelp is completely online, which means it's remote. All you do is go on and answer a few questions. They match you with a therapist. If you're not happy, you know what? You can switch. They are able within a few short days to do all the crunching of your questions to figure out the person you need to be paired with, whether it's depression, anxiety, stress, or so many other things. Give it a try. You know why? Because we've got an offer for you. 10% off your first month with BetterHelp. That's right, 10% off your first month by using the link in the description, betterhelp.com/reaction therapy. You can go get help today. I've even got my new tumbler here that was sent from BetterHelp, where I can stay hydrated and refreshed all day. They have been amazing. And if you have struggled at all with anything having to do with stress, anxiety, depression, addiction, or any kind of other issue, it sure helps to have somebody at your fingertips to be able to talk to. And the therapists at BetterHelp are credentialed to be able to handle that too. So don't forget 10% off your first month by going to betterhelp.com/reaction therapy. It is completely worth it. I found out myself, and I wasn't going to say anything about BetterHelp until I became a client myself. I did it. I loved it. I'm telling you, it's worth giving a shot. Thanks so much to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video.
Words were mine, gimme. 2 years old, he was walking. 3 years old, walking quickly. 4 years old, he was running round the pavements of his city. 5 years old, and his daddy told him, listen here, son, you gotta learn to be a man. A man, he works for what he wants. 6 years old and he's reading, writing, top of the bunch. And when he's 7, his progression made him student number 1. 8 years old and he's praised for unusual grades. 9, his parents paid for private school to nurture the flame. 10, 11, 12, 13, he ascends and ascends. His daddy tells him, son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematics.
This is so, oh wow, old school computer there. I actually grew up with those computers and the Rubik's Cube, which I still have in my office. It is so sad to me a lot of times because children aren't able to become who they really want to become. They look up to their parents, especially young boys look up to their dads. And when they hear messages like that of this is how you're successful, then, and I've talked to a guy just last night who is really successful in his career, but he remembered his dad always saying, success is in higher education and getting a degree and an advanced degree and another degree. And, you know, because his dad was a doctor, a PhD. And when that's the case, when we hear those words go into our head, they sink. And it's like the only way we're valuable is if we do that. So that's the pressure that goes on. And so we work our way to become that. Or if we don't, we're failures. And that's just a quick version of what it can feel like a lot of times. Wonder who this is he's painting a picture of, though.
Son, money is the means to all ends. 14, solving complex mathematical equations. At 15, IQ 150, still elevating. 16, he develops complex software code that detects weaknesses in cybersecurity protocols. 17, and he sells his vision, keeping the share. Not yet an adult, but he's practically a millionaire. 18, and his daddy tells him, now you're a man. This world don't give a damn about you, so take all that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an option.
Do you love the switch ups he does like this? Like I said, I'm not always the biggest fan of the style of REN, of how he does it. But this is pretty cool how he shifts in age and in the story. And he's going year by year about how this person's growing up and what is going on in their head that makes them make choices. Remember I said life's a series of choices over time. And so we make one choice that leads to another choice and another. And sometimes we go straight down that path and there's no turning back, but there's always a way to turn to the side. There's always a way to make new choices in a different way. But it's very hard when you grew up under this ideal in your head of how success is, how you're valuable, how you're worth it, how you matter in life. that his dad taught him.
All that you can. 19, he turns a profit, stocks and shares, invest in product. 20, double down deposits. 21, his income rockets. 22, he learns the truth is just an obstacle to wealth. If you manipulate the data, then the lie will sell itself. 23, a life of luxury, crystal and cocaine. 24, he makes the Forbes list, they're applauding his name. 25, and his daddy tells him, listen here son, while you're sitting in that palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms.
So even though he ends up with all the money and sitting in a palace, his dad says, doesn't mean you've won. So he's building him up: money, success, manipulation, don't have to be honest, just go get all you can. And then he gets it and his dad's like, doesn't mean you've won. So that's the sadness. Go watch the Elton John movie and see the story of his dad and how he was with him. That messes you up mentally. Just tough.
Palace, that don't mean that you won. 26, a business shift, he switches business to arms. He's 27, dealing nuclear and shells in Iran. 28, inside the Senate, money bought him a seat. He's 29, a role of counsel in the president's suite. Now he's 30, his daddy says you're losing the race. You're just a servant to the king, not even in second place. 31, a big maneuver for his daddy's approval. Moving imports over borders from the exports out of Cuba. 32, moving grams, growing kilos to tons. He's 33, filling warehouses with powder and guns. 34, turf war.
Now you go completely off the deep end, right? From just being successful and being smart and really using your brain to get somewhere, into making lots of money and manipulating and getting to the top of wherever you are, then into the just complete illegalness of things and doing whatever you can to get money, power, and control over things. This is why so many men hate therapy, right? And look at me. Like, I'm in an uphill battle because either they've had bad experiences with therapy, they think going in and talking to somebody about how they feel or getting help from somebody is weakness, or lastly, that they feel like they're being manipulated. And men having relationships with men in terms of like sharing vulnerability, talking about what it's like, how hard it is in life. Men have such a need for respect, and so often they feel disrespected. And so what they do is they just keep pushing harder like this. And if this guy gets pushed further and further away from people, so he can't have real relationships with anybody at this point.
With nobody to stop it, blind eye from the po-po inside of his pocket. $35, he gets the call.
So cool.
I'm sorry,
like
son, but it's your father. Had a heart attack. I'm sorry, he's gone. 36, getting pissed up, abusing his product. 37, eyes glazed, disposition demonic. 38, with a prostitute, a moment of passion, heating up a silver spoon and then chasing the dragon. 39, getting reckless and hungry for power. Daddy's words are still driving him to kill and devour.
See, same thing. And the very man that I think internally he knew, this guy's nuts, man. He's like, I can never satisfy him. Like I can never get his approval. Then when he dies, it's the grief of I've lost the one that I looked up to the most. But I'm angry with him. I resent him, but I still love him and I look up to him.
Makes a move against the cartel, but the strategy's flawed. They retaliate and leave him in a hospital ward. A bullet buried in his vertebra and one in his leg. The doctor sighs and says, I don't think you'll be walking again. Fuck.
Man. How this camera angle goes. Everything gets quiet. You can hear everything in the room. And then they turn and pan around behind him to change the scene. Oh, wow.
Let me tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, gimme. 41, he wasn't walking. 42, not.
This is going back to 1, 2, 3, but it's in his 40s. So all of a sudden you're grown up and you're back like you were as a child, but you're actually not getting you're not getting any joy, any happiness. So you're mind when you're little, because you want to play with things. But now he's like, I just curse it. Listen to that start.
Tell you a story about a boy named Jimmy. He was 40 and he cursed the words, mine, gimme. 41 he wasn't walking, 42 not walking quickly, 43 never running round the pavements of his city, 44 inside a palace with a mountain of gold. But those riches turn to rubble and perspective evolves. Weighing heavy on his conscience is the value of gold. Lamborghini for a life, trading money for souls. Jimmy followed the code inside the land of the free. Put your hand inside the cookie jar, take more than you need. And his example is exaggerated versions of me. And it's a version of him, and it's a version of she, and it's a version of you. There's no escaping the blame. The way we live is parasitic. Fuck the money and fame. Cut the music.
Oh. Man. He does such a good job of effect, of just all of a sudden getting your attention. That's what I want to tell men, though. Like, you've got to pay attention to this, that if all we're doing is seeking fame, glory, attention, power, money, it is temporary, and it actually does not feed our joy and happiness. Relationship do. At least for me, it does. Relationship, having my wife, having my children, having family and close friends nearby me, and building relationship, because they are way more than money.
This isn't entertainment. This is real life.
Yep.
The way we live is lunacy, community, it declines. Hyperpolarized, always fighting, then we divide. Truth is less important than the money that we designed. Money's an invention. Politics from our invention. They all come from people's ideas. Did I mention? Border's an invention. Law and order fuel the tension. It leads to people killing each other. My solution? Everything is subject to change. We could build utopias if individuals were taught to use their brains. But if we teach kids in schools to always be sheep and put themselves before the herd if there's more money for me, then there's no future I see where the humans survive. We're parasites inside a petri dish with cannibals.
If all we do is take from each other, if all we do is I'm going to get mine, there is no way the society can last, because we're all just taking, and we're all going to destroy each other instead of coming together and helping each other.
Minds, mold will grow upon the surface and consumes till it dies. And our fate could be the same without this story to the wise.
Wow.
45. Jimmy comes home out of the rain, soaking wet upon a wheelchair, drinking again. He is everything he wants. He is fortune and fame. He's a fortunate fool with an unfortunate fate.
Oh, no.
With a 45 caliber aimed at his brain. 45 a fitting number cause his age is the same. Here's the words of his father. It's such a damn shame. Then he presses on the trigger of a money game.
What an ending there. Money Game Part 3. Oh my gosh. And what was that ending? Did you hear the thing about the dad? Who the voice from the dad is? What a shame. Like, he is a shame after all of this. The power of that message from our fathers, I'm not kidding you, is so strong. And whether men want to pay attention to it or not, it is hugely influential to be able to know that our fathers care about us regardless of who we are, where we go, what we become. But so often it is destroyed over and over again. What a message. Just has tons of mental health in it, Remember, though, it's not real therapy. It's just me breaking down lyrics. If you want help, check the links in the description. Go to our Discord server and please leave us your comments. Megs, thanks so much for the request for this one. I mean, it's an eye-opener and it goes through a lot and is worth watching again. Mental health matters and so does yours. We'll see you on the next Reaction Therapy.